Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel and to another stock market update. In this video, I just want to start off with this chart right here because I've been thinking over the last 7 to 10 days or so that I'm feeling like I'm not long enough of the market. I know there's just a lot of fear out there, and that's one of the things that is just keeping me from buying more stock. I did a little bit more buying this week, but I don't know. I just keep getting that feeling that I am not long enough the market. Yeah, just because there's so much fear out there, and I think that this chart illustrates it very well. I got this one in my email feed from Sentiment Trader. If you haven't subscribed to his free email, it's definitely worth it. This guy puts out some fantastic charts, and like I said, it's free. I think they come out just about daily, if not maybe every other day or so. But this chart just really illustrates what what people are feeling in the market right now. And as we can see, this is saying that institutional traders net speculative option premium in billions, but they bought a record amount of hedges, so a record amount of bets to the short side. And you can see that this thing is dwarfing the amount of fear that was in the market in the depths of the financial crisis. So I don't know. I just think that there is a lot of evidence that we could be in for a potentially face ripper type rally in the market that I don't think anybody's really going to see coming, including myself. I kind of got that feeling, but having a feeling and putting your money where your feelings are or your mouth is are two different things. But I just want to start off with this chart because I thought this was very interesting. All right, so let's jump into the market charts. I'm going to start off with the QQQ, or the NASDAQ ETF, like I always do. But before I get into any of this, just please remember, none of this is financial advice. Please make all of your own buying and selling decisions. I'm just trying to show you guys what I see in the market. If you get something out of it, great. If not, that's fine too. But let's just jump into the Qs right here. And I actually made one trade this week, one trade only, and that was a call option trade. I bought the TQQQ a couple of days ago when it looked like the NASDAQ could be bottoming, and it's working out so far. You can see we've had 3 really nice green up days so far. I had a really strong day 3 days ago. Yesterday had a little bit of a gap down, but it closed strong. And once we got that close yesterday, I probably should have added to it, but I didn't. But today I ended up taking some profits here once it got up to this purple line, this 21 period exponential moving average. I still think that we're probably going to end up running into this resistance area right here. I think once we broke above this area, that it was should be some rather smooth sailing, maybe getting up to this resistance area right here. With the way the market has been lately, can't help but to be a little bit, traumatized by the price action. So I ended up taking, some of them off right here at this moving average right here. I bought these. I bought the 2850 call a couple of days ago for 121. So I ended up selling these at $2.70. So a little bit more than a double on the ones that I sold today. Hopefully we can get a push through up to this resistance area, and then I'll probably end up taking the rest of them off. The last couple of trades that I've made in the TQQQ have been the closest week expiring contract, but Studio from the Patreon talked me into, getting a little bit more time on these call options because it seems like I'm just running out of time and then the move happens afterwards. So ended up buying a couple of weeks more time on these, but they're working out so far. If I'd have bought the near-term contract, these actually would have been working out a little bit better on a percentage basis, but you know what? I'm not going to nitpick this trade at all. But looking at the QQQs, this is what I was looking at when I wanted to make that trade. You're going to be able to see this, descending wedge a little bit better. You can see the QQQs were coming down, but the velocity of the down move is starting to dissipate, and it was starting to get really tight, making one of these descending wedge formations. So right about here is when I bought those call options, and once we closed strong on this candle right here, once the market pulled back and kind of cradled into those moving averages and started to move up, I knew I should have doubled down on those options, and I wish I had, because so very often once you see a move like this out of a descending wedge formation and you get that little cradle up move, you'll get that explosion out of it. But it is what it is. With the way the market has been lately, I've been trying to tread lightly. But As you can see, as we are breaking out of this descending wedge, another thing that I like to see is once you get a peak in the moving average convergence divergence, and then you get a move above that peak and price is still below the previous peak, that usually tells you that you're going to end up taking out this peak right here. So that was another reason why I wanted to enter that trade. But just a decent looking trade so far. Let's actually go back to the daily chart. And one other thing that I am noticing on the QQQ, let me move up to my Williams percentage R indicator. This is one of my favorite indicators. Larry Williams developed this indicator. If you're not familiar with who Larry Williams is, I've learned a lot from him as well. He does a lot of work with cycles. He does work for stockcharts.com, and of course he has his own service. But if you want to learn about cycles and other longer term type of trade signals, he puts out a lot of great work. I first heard of him when he was in the Trading Championship. God, I can't even remember how many years ago, but he had just an unbelievable performance in that championship. I want to say in that year, he might have been up like 10,000% or more. It's been so long since I've seen that work, but this is what I want to show you what the percentage are. Now, this is the standard settings on the percentage R, and a lot of people like to do the buys and the sells once they move past these dotted lines. But what I like to do is use a box in the middle. I like to put my top line right around 40. Let me see if I can finagle this thing to get down to the 40 area, so just bear with me. It's about 39.5, but anyway, you'll get the point. One thing that I like to do with this indicator is when the market has been above, say, this overbought line for a while and then crashes down through this box, not this dotted line right here, but this box, it tends to be a pretty good signal of the trend actually being over, because once it comes down below that line, you can still be in a pretty nice uptrend. But once you cross down through this little area right here, let me move this up just a tiny bit. I usually like to have that just a little bit higher. It ends up being a pretty good signal that the trend is over, because as you can see, like right here, this was another signal about the trend just starting to end, and I probably should have got pretty short when I saw this signal, but I was just thinking that we probably weren't going to go down as far as we did, so I was actually a little bit wrong on that. I should have just trusted the indicator and bought some put options on the market. But as you can see, we are almost up through this 40 area on the box that I have on the Williams percentage R. So if we can break above that, I think that's going to be a fantastic buy signal, and I'm probably going to be getting even more long if that happens, and I think it's going to happen. So that's another reason why I'm thinking I probably should have gotten a little bit longer in the market. This is more of a longer term trend signal. This is not something that I like to play with the options. This is just something when I want to capture a little bit of a multi-week to a multi-month trend, But I just want to show you that on the Williams percentage R. Let's actually jump to the next item. Let's jump over to the IWM. We jump over to the IWM, you can see the same thing. Let me jump back to the moving average convergence divergence indicator. You can see the MACD has started to round up, so this thing has the potential to keep going. And I was also looking at this one on the hourly chart when I was looking at the Qs. And as you can see, the IWM also made a beautiful MACD convergence divergence buy signal. You can see the MACD made a higher low, but price made a lower low. That's usually a pretty decent reversal signal. This was another reason why I had a little bit more confidence to jump in on that TQQQ call option trade. Let's actually jump back to the daily chart. And so let's jump to the next one. Let's take a look at oil, because I thought oil made a rather fascinating move this week. I think in my last video, oil was breaking above the 50-period simple moving average. So I was thinking that, the move down in oil was probably over. You can make it a nice little rounded bottom, finding some support at that 200, broke above the 50, but we are in one of those markets where it's just fake out city. I mean, there's been so many signals that not only I've taken, but I've thought about taking once it's broken above key support or key resistance and key moving averages, just to have it the market send that product down, whatever it is, that stock or that ETF down the following day. So we are just in a little bit of a fake out market, and we could be having another signal right at the moment, because you can see we have broken down below this support right around 70 on the USO, and it is bouncing back quickly. So if the USO ends up jumping back above this 200 period simple moving average, that might end up being the buy signal on oil. But if it rolls again, I don't know. I mean, oil might be headed significantly lower in the next couple of weeks or so. But one interesting thing that I'm seeing in the energy market is natural gas. We can see natural gas, it seems like the easiest trade in the world right now, you know, with Putin shutting off natural gas to Europe. Everybody's thinking that natural gas prices are going to soar into the winter. And I don't know, it just seems like when trades become way too logical, it's a setup for a fall. And what I am seeing in the chart of UNG, or the price of natural gas, if we go to the weekly chart, it's making a pretty nasty negative divergence on the MACD. And you can see price has been getting weaker over these last couple of weeks. And if we go back to the daily chart, I don't know, I think this has the potential to break down below this 50 period simple moving average and start heading back down towards the 200s. So even though we have all this news going on in Europe where, the price of natural gas is supposed to explode, I bet, smart money has been in this trade for a long time, and I doubt that those guys are chasing this trade like I have been, and this could be just a big setup for a multi-week move to the downside. You can see the moving average convergence divergence is starting to accelerate down, and I don't know, there's still some time left in the trading day, but I have been staring at this one all day, potentially buying some puts to, at the very least, hedge some of my longs that I have in this sector. So I don't know, I think it's a pretty nice setup to the downside. Will it follow through the downside? Who knows, but I just wanted to show you guys that one. And before I end the video, I just want to show you a couple other charts that I really like. First one is Ulta. I talked about this one in my last video, but we can see Ulta has gotten that breakout. So if this market ends up bottoming, which I think it could, Ulta could end up being a leader in this next phase of the next bull move that we have in the market here, whatever you want to call it, next phase of the bull run. I really like the chart in Ulta, and of course I like MMYT. This one is an ADR, Make My Trip Limited. I believe this is an Indian company. I believe this company is from India, and that stock market has been actually rather strong, one of the strongest ones out there in the emerging markets. And if MMYT ends up breaking above 34.50, you know what, I think I am going to end up taking a position in MMYT, because I really like the way that this one is setting up. Had a nice move up over these last few weeks, and it's making a very tight handle. So I think this chart looks very nice as well. So I'm going to end the video right there before this thing drags on too long. If you have any nice looking charts that you see in the market, please leave it down there in the comment section. I really appreciate when you guys leave some of your ideas for me. And I'll end it right there. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. And until next time, take care, everybody.